What's up, functional bodybuilders? I am going to be diving into a series called Functional Muscle. Today is part 1. We're going to be hitting a leg day with functional bodybuilding, formatting, concepts, training methods. And what I'm going to be using today is something I like to call, and many other people call, compounding sets. That's when you take 3 or more movements and you perform them back to back, and each of them targets a similar movement pattern or group of muscles. These names are interchangeable: compounding sets, giant sets. We use this approach in functional bodybuilding because it allows us to leverage a few very powerful training principles that we know create success for our clients, all within one elegant training format. If you happen to be new to the channel, then I'm Marcus Philly and I coach functional bodybuilding. The functional bodybuilding method strives to help athletes look good and move well. We place an equal emphasis on training philosophies that help you achieve the body of your dreams that can move with the abilities that are your birthright. That's right, those movement capabilities to squat, bend, flex, twist, jump, throw, and crash that we all possessed as young children and lost along the way. For 24 years, I've been training in and outside of gyms. I've exposed myself to countless training methods and learned from just about as many coaches along the way. What I've gathered along the way is training formats that support the look good, move well mission. If a method is heavily biased towards looking good through hypertrophy methods and fat loss focus, then I make a point to use my knowledge around movement quality and joint and tissue health to upgrade the method to allow it to balance our athletes. So today I want to take you through a look good, move well, lower body training format that is potent for building muscles and equally effective at improving movement quality and athleticism. If you follow along with this workout later this week, you will lift something heavy, lift something to your pain-free full range of motion, explore unilateral strength and balance. You'll move with speed, jump, and be athletic. And finally, you'll isolate a muscle group to get a local muscle pump. So let me break down what this workout looks like for you. In total, you're gonna be completing 5 sets. You're gonna start a new set every 6 minutes. So 5 sets every 6 minutes. This is gonna take you 30 minutes to get through. The first movement that you'll perform is a 1 1/4 Cyclist Front Squat for 5 reps. Then you'll take about a 30-second rest period and you'll move on to movement number 2. That's called a Goblet Cossack Squat for 6 reps per leg, and we're gonna pause on every single rep. Another 30-second rest, and you're moving on to movement number 3. That's the Dumbbell Burpee for 8 reps, and you're gonna perform that with some speed. After another 30-second rest, we're moving on to our final and 4th exercise, and that is a traditional leg extension for 16 reps. At the conclusion of your last rep of leg extensions, you'll check the clock, and however long you have until the next 6-minute mark is how long you're going to rest in between sets. That should be in the 2-minute range, give or take 10 to 15 seconds, depending on how quickly you finished each of your exercises in this compounding set. Now I want to provide you with some coach notes, a breakdown of why I chose what I chose to build this workout format for you, and so that it fits the look good, move well philosophy. See, every choice in our programs is very intentional, from the order of exercises to the length of the rest periods and the exercise selections themselves. To begin with, the timing format. I love the consistency of these time formats every 6 minutes or every 4 minutes. It helps you stay on point with your rest periods, and you can plan very easily for how long things are going to take you in the gym. When you begin your training sets, you know exactly how long the workout is going to take, and it allows you to remain, once again, very focused on the task at hand. How many of you have lost focus in the gym, spent more time than you thought you were going to spend, and as a result, were much less efficient and effective with your training? The timing also focuses on rest periods. The intra-set or between exercise rest periods are very short, just enough time to give you a chance to transition between exercises. Furthermore, these short rest periods means that movements are going to build on top of each other and create what we'll call cumulative fatigue. Meanwhile, the interset rest periods between chunks of exercises, they should be longer. They should be able to allow you to fully recover so you can come back for another compounding set of high intensity. The second principle you got here is starting from compound and toughest and then moving to lighter and speed-focused or more isolated movements. The idea is that when you're most fresh, you want to stack the toughest exercises. So at the beginning of your compounding set, you're doing these heavy front squats. Then when you start to fatigue, you'll want to move to easier movements or exercises that are going to allow you to stay focused even when you're tired. So squatting relatively heavy, as I said, should come first, then moving to a difficult single leg exercise like the Cossack Squat is next, followed by a moderate weight fast movement like the Dumbbell Burpee, and then of course finishing with a very isolated exercise like the leg extension. Why did I choose Cyclist 1 1/4 squats? These are also known as teardrop squats. VMO, vastus medialis, dominant squat positions. When you place a slant board underneath your feet to do squats, aka a cyclist squat, it allows us to get into a very deep knee flexion. That deep knee flexion position will bias that teardrop muscle on the inner portion of your quadricep. Furthermore, the vertical positioning that this allows you to take in the front squat makes it a much more leg focused, which is the focus of today, or quad focused, than it is hips and glute focused. In this first movement, I want you grabbing loading that is very challenging for you. The 1 1/4 range of motion is also going to help with overloading the quads because you're going to be coming up a quarter of the way on every single rep and then returning to a full depth squat, which is going to put that extra strain on the quads each repetition. Now, for those of you who love this concept of functional bodybuilding, but you want to leverage some of the other tools that you have access to, hey, what about using a machine? I would encourage you to maybe substitute out a leg press for this front squat if one, you're either not that comfortable front squatting, or two, you just love to use machines in your training as well. A 1 1/4 leg press can be a perfect substitution. Okay, how about the Cossack Squat? Why are we using that? I love the Cossack Squat because it's where flexibility meets strength. The Look Good, Move Well philosophy prioritizes being strong, looking good, and also having great range of motion. And pause Cossack squats work great for building positional strength. We can't overlook unilateral work to balance both sides of our body in training. If you train two-legged movements all the time, you may have some underlying strength deficits on one side that go unnoticed forever, or at least until they create a problem in your training, such as an injury or a strength plateau. The last thing I love about Cossack squats comes down to the plane of motion that you're working in. So rarely are we doing movements that kind of push our bodies side to side or in the frontal plane. And I think the Cossack squat is a great tool to get us working in this direction, keep our athleticism, keep our mind-muscle connections working, and help us learn new skills. Then there's the dumbbell burpee. Why are we doing that? Well, athleticism in our training keeps our brain developing. Something like a burpee is very full body, but this particular version with dumbbells does bias a bit more of the legs, and it's just an exercise to get us moving fast, which again keeps athleticism into our repertoire. As I alluded to, the position of this particular variation of the burpee, when you jump your feet forward, it should land you in a quarter squat. So you're going to be performing these quarter squats with dumbbells at your side, again, targeting more leg drive, which is the theme of this compounding set. I also just love including some power and energy system work inside of these resistance training intervals. It helps us bring overall fitness balance and variety to the training. Lastly, a leg extension. Why a leg extension? Well, if you've followed the coaching points up until this stage in the compounding set, your legs are pretty cooked. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna move into an isolation exercise that's not gonna demand too much of your brain and your entire body. That's gonna allow you to isolate and burn out the focus muscle group, which is the legs. If you don't have access to a leg extension machine, I'm showing you this banded alternative For those of you who want to keep an isolation exercise at the end of this compounding set, but again, you can't get access to a multi-$1,000 leg extension machine. Now, one of the challenges with doing compounding sets like this is that, hey, Marcus, man, that takes up all this equipment. I've got to have this, I got to have that, I got to use 3 different stations, and I just can't do that in my gym. Well, I have solutions for that as well. One set of dumbbells and a band, and you can do this entire workout. So instead of a barbell front squat or a leg press, why don't you just grab that set of dumbbells that nobody's using on the rack and do your suitcase cyclist squats with that. Then you can use that same dumbbell and do your Cossack squats, and of course the same dumbbells and do your dumbbell burpees. And then again, you don't have to go to the leg extension machine. You can take that jump stretch resistance band that you have, put your feet up on a bench, and perform the leg extensions that I've shown you. And maybe you're on the other side of the coin. I've got access to all the tools, and I really want to use everything. I don't really want to use the dumbbells. Well, then you have access to different tools that you can plug in to each of these movements within this training format. Now remember the intention of each of these movements. The Cossack squat was all about building big range of motion unilaterally. So if you've got access to a leg press machine and you want to do a single leg press that allows you to get deep range of motion, go for it. The take-home point when it comes to exchanging movements in is that you want to be thinking about replacing likes with likes. If it's said to do a heavy, challenging cyclist front squat, and you decide to go do a very lightweight, high rep movement that doesn't mimic the pattern, you're not really accessing what we're after here in this training format. Hey, my hope is that this functional muscle breakdown was useful for you. Be sure to grab a copy of the workout in the description below and head into the gym this week and give it a shot. I'm confident that even if you don't have all the gear that you saw me use today, you can use a couple of modifications and adjustments that I've included, and you can have a kick-ass leg workout. There's a lot of training methods out there in the world that can get you results. I'm a firm believer that the simultaneous pursuit of form, how you look, and function, how you move, like we aspire to with our Look Good, Move Well philosophy, that is the ticket to a lifetime of feeling, looking, and performing your best. If you found some value from this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and like it. Also, drop a comment below on what you think about compounding sets. Have you ever used them before? Is this a new concept to you? What challenges do you see that you might be facing? And what questions you have about the methodology? I'm happy to answer it. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, be sure to hit that subscribe button, help grow our channel, spread the message, and I will see you next time.